What's up, everybody? And welcome to another Kinstretch class brought to you by Stretch Effects. My name is Coach Luke, and I'll be taking you through today's 30-minute spine and hip internal rotation focused Kinstretch class. Today's class is going to be a little bit different from past classes, as usually we focus on, say, one joint, say the hip, or even just one action of the joint, so hip internal rotation. Today we're going to be combining the spine, use it more in the beginning of class, and we're going to finish up with some hip internal rotation, as the spine kind of helps facilitate motion throughout the rest of the body. As we get the spine moving a little bit better, we're going to then carry that over into internal rotation and see if we can get a little bit more out of it. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started right into it. So we're going to start with the cat-cow. We'll go from the cat-cow to our spine cars, and then we'll go into some hip cars. So just get locked in here. We'll go to my quadruped position. On my hands right on the shoulders, knees right under the hips. I'm just going to go up into my cat position or my spinal flexion position. I'm just going to start by tucking my tailbone, trying to round out the lumbar spine as much as I can. Drive up into thoracic flexion, just trying to continue rounding out the spine. Pull my chin to my chest, and just see if I can squeeze out as much spinal flexion as I possibly can. Make sure the hands are even, make sure the knees are even, make sure you put even pressure in each knee, in each hand. Identify if you feel like you can't move into one area or the other. So say, find the low back, maybe it's not rounding out as much as you like, just kind of identify that here. And then we're going to do 2 reps, segmental cat-cow. So I'm just going to start at the tailbone. Just slowly start segmentally extending the tailbone. I'm just going to slowly work my way all the way up the spine. Just imagine one vertebrae extending at a time. So put your brain into each individual segment of your spine and go slow, slowly better. Just extend all the way up the back. Usually about the thoracic spine is where most people tend to get lost. So really slow down through that segment. Try to imagine pulling your spine down towards the floor. Make sure we're not squeezing our shoulder blades here. Just keep the shoulders engaged, locked in where you started. Just extend all the way up. You can finish with some cervical extension, but it doesn't need to be excessive here. We just want to lift the chin and try to lift the chest, lift the collarbones, and we are in full extension. From there, I'm just going to start the tailbone again. Work into flexion. So we work one vertebrae at a time. Go very slow. Think about that spine. Think about where you are in space. Do your best to control, keep everything extended until it's that vertebrae's turn to flex. Work your way all the way back up. Again, take your time, especially through the thoracic spine. And now we are back in full cat or spinal flexion. Okay, one more time, up and back. Think untuck just the tailbone. One vertebrae at a time, extending all the way up the spine. Take your time here. Work up. Try to, if you're doing it in front of the mirror, try to put wrinkles in your shirt. One joint at a time. So we don't want everything moving together. That's what you see a lot of times in the popular yoga cat-cow variation, which is better than nothing, right? We want to make sure we're getting some spine motion every day. However, if we can learn to control each individual segment of our spine, not only will we feel better, but then we can create a spine that's better at distributing load, distributing force amongst all the individual segments of the spine versus a few, which is what most people end up doing. They kind of chunk up their spine and they move through 3 or 4 areas versus moving a little bit through every single area of their spine. That's good, very nice. So we're just gonna go from there right into our thoracic spine. So this variation, we're just gonna go just with the hands, and then we're gonna add in the yoga block a little bit later. So let's just go hands across the chest. I wanna think kind of shoulders neutral, right? So we've done in past classes, you may have done with us before, we're in a protracted position, or you could do it from like more of a retracted position, you here and pulling the shoulders back and down. Or you go kind of a shoulders neutral position, so think pull your elbows into your body. We'll keep our chin down the whole time, and I'm just going to go into spinal flexion. Try to round that out, feel that kind of cat position that we just worked on. You're going to rotate one side as far as you can go. I will laterally flex. I'm going to extend one vertebrae at a time all the way up, just like my cow position that we just worked on. From here, I'm in extension. From here, there's a couple different ways we could go about this. I'm going to go into rotation, lateral flexion, come down, and through. On the second rep, I'll show you the other variation. I will rotate back the other way, lateral flex, extend one vertebrae at a time, get tall, come up all the way to the top in extension. We're in our cow position here, right? From there, I'm going to rotate in extension. So any golfers, this is the position that you're familiar with. Lateral flexion, pull my elbows in, down, back to the center. Okay, we're going to do one more rep each way. I'll show you the second variation that we can work with. Rotation, lateral flexion, extension. Now from here, I'm in extension. I will laterally flex. Take my top shoulder, rotate across the body, come through to the center. Okay, so it's a subtle variation as I work out of extension. Lateral flexion, extend one vertebrae at a time, get tall, and then full extension here. I will laterally flex, top shoulder rotate across the body, hold those elbows in, and come down. Very good. Let's go into our hip cars. We're just going to sideline hip cars here. If you've done this with us before, you know how to set up your yoga blocks. One under the head, and then you can have one out in front, or you can hug it to the body. Either way, we just want to help us create tension as I'm working through my full hip cars here. So you can hold out in front, squeeze in there, or you can hold the block to the body. It's a good reminder just to keep that good core tension position. From there, I'm just going to come up into flexion. We have 2 reps here. Abduction, internal rotation, that's what we're working on today. And come through, drive that bottom leg into the floor, squeeze that block nice and tight. Come over, and back to our start position. Straight back up, open, internally rotate, come around, and through. Reverse, the ribs down, keep that core tight, drive the heel back, make sure we're not arching through that spine. Open up, keep that body still, and around, come through, and switch sides. Switch sides here, block goes under the head, one block out front, legs are stacked, good core engagement here, squeeze that block, come straight up. Abduction, so open up as much as you can, internally rotate, and drive that heel back, come down, and reverse. With extension, keep that core nice and tight, make sure we're not extending through the spine, open up as far as you can go, come around, and then we got one more there, stay locked, open. So hang out here for a second so you can squeeze a little bit more. Internally rotate, maximally drive that heel back to the wall behind you. Extend, kick that heel back, keep driving that heel back. Make sure we're not moving through the spine. Swing through, and then one more time. Extend, heel drives back. Open up, only using that hip. Come down, and back through. So we're going to come back up. We're going to do another round of our T-spine. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit higher tension here. So if you have 2 blocks, you can just sit on one if that makes it a little bit more comfortable for you. If you want to throw like a pillow, really throw anything kind of between your legs and your butt, just to give you a little bit more cushion, that's okay. You can also do this from the seated position. You can do it from a wide base position, so think standing with my feet outside shoulder width, or you could go very wide base position, kind of more towards the edges of the yoga mat if you're using one. I'm going to go from a kind of collapsing position. Because I have 2 blocks, I'll put one kind of under the butt just to give you a little bit of elevation. And then I'm going to take my other block. If you have 1 block, use the block in the chest. So I'm going to take the bottom of that block right on top of my ribcage, so kind of right on that sternum level. And using that kind of as some feedback to fold over. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to take this block. I'm going to squeeze. You can squeeze here, or you can kind of grip it. Take the shoulders down, right? I don't want to be starting with the shoulders down. Take a breath in, and then just create tension, and then I'm just going to segmentally flex all the way down. So I'm going to go full spinal flexion here. So I'm trying to round out as much as I can from my tailbone all the way up to my thoracic spine. Round out as much as possible. And then I'm going to rotate, laterally flex as far as I can, try to squeeze out a little bit more motion than we did in the warm-up set. From there, I'm going to segmentally extend the tailbone all the way to the back of my neck. Now the full extension. I'm going to work extension into rotation. So I should feel the stretch on the opening side, that would be here, right? From there, I will laterally flex, pull those elbows into my body, and come through the center. Go in reverse, so my full flexion, rotation, lateral flexion, extend from the tailbone, all the way up to your spine. Now I'm trying to lift the chest, my chin stays on my chest. I will be in extension and rotation. From there, I will laterally flex, squeezing that right side, stretch on the left, pull my elbows in, rotate through. Okay. One more time each way, keep that chin down, rotate, laterally flex, extend, get tall, get tall, get tall, rotate, laterally flex, elbows come through, and reverse. Rotate, last rep, last half rep, laterally flex, start of that tailbone, extend all the way up to the top, extension, rotation, so you get a little bit more, lateral flexion as far as you can go, keeping that lower body still, elbows pulled down, and come through. Squeeze a little bit more if you want, and relax, very good. So we're going to now go into some spinal spinal pails and rails, I should say. So that was our spinal car, right? That was our full rotational cars there. And then we have technically we call it, or what I call a linear car, would be our cat-cow. Now we're going to get in that same cat-cow position and then work some pails and rails for flexion and extension. So we're just going to work one rep of each direction. So we'll start in my cat position, right? So that's a rounded tailbone, driving my back up. And we're just gonna hang out here and breathe. So one thing that I always point out when we're in this position is that just like all of our other pails and rails that we do, when we're trying to position frequently, you stand in position, stay in full flexion. We always want to work on diaphragmatic breathing, right? So think belly breathing, so as I breathe in, stomach expands out, right? So that's our belly breathing. But what a lot of times people forget is that my diaphragm expands in 360 degrees. We call it three-dimensional breathing. I want to breathe forward, I want to breathe side, and I want to breathe into my back. Now, breathing into the back is something that, most people don't do well or don't even realize is something that's possible, right? So when we're in this cat position, this is probably one of your best options, one of your best positions to work on that type of breathing. So even though you're going to have gravity helping you out here to kind of help you breathe into your belly, right? It's easier to now move this way. But now I really want to think about breathing into the low back, right? So you have these kind of soft spots here that will expand as I breathe in, right? So I want to try to push those segments out and get that 360 degree breath. Okay, so we've been holding here for long enough, so that was good. So we've been practicing that while I was explaining, just kind of trying to squeeze out more flexion. For here, my pails contraction is my hands driving forward and my knees driving back. Now they're not going to move, right? So I want to keep that isometric contraction, but the tension is as if I was trying to rip this mat in half this way, right? So I'm trying to drive hands forward, knees back. That's my pails. We go up to 10, mat down to 10. Rails, hands pull together, knees pull together. So now I'm trying to drive in. So I'm trying to contract this mat coming together, okay? So get set up. You have been in that flexion position. Just trying to squeeze out more. Work on that belly breathing in the back. Take one more breath in. Good by the torso, good by the tension, and then start driving hands forward, knees back. We're just going to build that contraction up. We're at 20%, 30, 40, 50, keep trying to touch, keep trying to get more, 70, 80, 90, and max effort, drive away, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails, hands and knees pull together. Squeeze the aggressive side, so squeeze my abs. Trying to drive into more spinal flexion. Tuck my tailbone more. Squeeze everything on the front side of the body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. As you exhale, and a little bit more spinal flexion. Try to tuck that tailbone a little bit more. And relax. Shake the shoulders down. I know that's a long time to be pulled into that quadruped position, but you take the shoulders a little break. When we do those rails, right, in that flexion, really try to squeeze those abs, right? That's one thing I want to say is if your abs aren't cramping when you're doing those spinal flexion rails, probably means you're not connected quite enough yet, which will take practice, or you just need to squeeze hard. That's where that tension, grabbing hands down, knees up, gives me that contraction. It's it's pretty much an isometric abdominal crunch, right? Because that's what our abs do, is help or create spinal flexion, right? So just give that some thought, and whenever you do those again, really squeeze that front side as much as you can. That's why it's called the rails. We call it the progressive angle. So now we're trying to close that angle down. Okay. Now we are in spinal extension. So from here, I'm just going to take hands under my shoulders, knees up my hips. You can go from, if you want to start from here, and or you can just work segmentally into thoracic extension, right? So this is the point. We're going to be holding here for a little bit, so really just continually keep running your brain from tailbone all the way up to the top of your spine, continually trying to squeeze out more extension, trying to really get connected to that thoracic spine. Really think about every single vertebrae and every muscle that controls it. So, or I should say the vertebrae that controls the muscle. But just to continue trying to squeeze out more thoracic extension. For most people, especially if you work at a desk, you sit at a computer, you sit in a car, you sit on an airplane, you spend so much time in flexion that we need, especially from the thoracic side, to get more extension. They also make sure we're not arching the back a lot of times, not squeezing the shoulder blades together. As you get that kind of shoulder blade retraction, that's really going to kind of allow us to kind of fake thoracic extension. So we just want to take the shoulders slow, like slightly just spread the floor, spread the mat longitudinally with the hands, but just give your shoulder blades some tension, something to do. That allows me to lock in my shoulders. That allows me to squeeze out more thoracic extension. Okay, so from here, my pails is just the opposite. Driving hands and knees together. Rails, hands and knees drive away. Okay, so put the breath in, full body contraction, and then start pressing hands and knees like they're dragging towards each other. We're going to build that up 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100% effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rails. Hands press forward, knees press back, and squeeze out more extension, more extension, more extension. Lift the chest, lift the collarbones, lift that tailbone. Keep going, keep going, keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. You want to just go back. Flexion. Good. And relax out of that. Very good. So now, for the last 10 minutes or so of class, we're going to go into hip internal rotation. So we're just going to a 90-90 position. We're going to do one set of pails and rails here, and we'll follow it up with some sideline liftoffs with the yoga block. So from here, I'm just going to take my hand, rotate open, sit back just a little bit, as much as I need, right? So I can sit more here, I can sit up a little more and try to shift my weight this way. What I'm trying to do is imagine I'm taking my left butt cheek, my left sit bone towards the floor. That's going to put me more of relative hip internal rotation. because I'm not able to move the femur in this position. I need to move something over the femur, which is, in this case is my pelvis, to allow me to get more internal rotation. Okay, so we're just going to hang out here. Again, find the position that's best for you. You may need to be here. You may need to elevate your knee onto a block. You may need, if you're very mobile, you can elevate your foot onto a block, or if this position is uncomfortable for you, you can take a block or two, kind of elevate the body here. That'll change your position. It's all about finding the positions that is best for you, which allows you to get more out of our stretch and our pails and rows. Okay. And here for about another minute. Again, our pails is my foot is pressing down. So whenever we do pails, it's pressing into the resistance, in this case through the floor, pressing down. So I'm going to build up for 10, max up for 10. Rails, I'm driving knee down. I'm trying to lift this foot as high up in the air as I possibly can. Okay, without doing this though. So I want to make sure I'm continuing to try to pull myself deeper into that stretch, pressing into the floor, trying to lift that foot, really getting a good solid contraction here. Okay, so one more big deep breath in and out. So take 4 count in, 8 count out. On the exhale, really see if you can get a little bit more rotation, a little bit more squeeze. Okay, take a breath in, solidify the body, pack that air down, and start driving back foot into the floor, building up that contraction. 10%, 20%, 30%, 40, 50, 60, 70%, 80%, 90%, and 100% effort. Drive down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay open as much as you can. Drive that knee down. Try to lift that foot. Rails. Max effort. Right into it. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. And take a big breath in. Belly breath. And relax. Very good. Come out of that position there. You can roll open, roll close, do some rotations. You can do that as well. So we're just going to switch sides. So just think. We're not going to go super slow with our rotation, but we do want to, make those hips work a little bit more. So we're just going to come open, and then we're just going to slowly transition one hip at a time, right? So although they're moving together, they are moving independently of one another. So just let me try to get to the floor, into external rotation. Right knee or right hip, I should say, is rotating into internal rotation. Once you get to the bottom, set yourself up there. Again, right hip, left hip may be different. You may need to be sitting up on a block. You may need to elevate knee or foot, depending on what you need. Usually most of the time we elevate because that's going to put us into more abduction. So usually sitting up will kind of take out the angle a little bit, but also leaning back will help us do that as well. So hand on the hip, open up, so sit back, kick that butt cheek to the floor, sit open, rotate, make sure there's no pain in the down knee, right? So my right knee, make sure there's no pain there. If there is, that's when I need to adjust my body position. I can go into slightly more flexion. I could go back a little bit more, open up, or I could lean back a little bit here. It's all about finding the position that's best for you. You can lean back a little bit more this way. That body weight, just kind of leaning this way, will kind of help just take us into more internal rotation. Breathe. Okay, so again, pails pressing down, rails, knees pressing down, trying to lift that foot out, opening up the body, right? So I don't want to, without closing down the pelvis, right? So I want to stay as open as I possibly can. If it helps, you can even take this hand to the hip here, just kind of hold yourself down. What you could also even do is you can kind of take this leg and kind of press it here. So as we go into that rails, I'm not as tempted to press that leg, and this leg kind of gives you some feedback into what's going on. So a lot of different options here. That's the beauty of Kinstretch. Okay? So let's go. Take a breath in. There down. And then slowly start pressing back foot into the floor. Press down. Continue trying to open up if you can. We're at 30, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70, 80, 90, and 100% effort. Drive down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Moves his hand. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rails. Press that knee. Try to lift that foot. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. Right into it. Feel that outer hip. Right here. Firing up. Keep going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Get back into it. Open up a little bit more. Feel that stretch. Open up and relax. Okay. Let's go back to a sideline position. If you have 2 blocks, you can take 1 block for under the head and then 1 block between the knees. If you got 1 block, just use it between the knees, and then you can use your arm kind of as a pillow here. So I'm going to stack my knees, and my feet will be in line with my hips, in line with my shoulders. This block is good on the head. I can take this hand here, I can go here, just like we did our hip curls at the beginning. Stack the knees, hands out front, whatever you gotta do to help you create tension. I'm squeezing these knees together as tight as I can, so I don't want to just think roll open here, right? I'm trying to lift this foot, but I want to make sure it's coming from good tension. So if I was there with you, I wouldn't be able to pull this block out in between the knees, okay? We're gonna go 15 reps each side, and we'll call it a day. If you want to go hand here, remind you to keep some good intra-abdominal pressure, so you take a breath in. Feel that stomach, feel the diaphragm kind of push your hand away, and then maintain that tension throughout. Ideally, you'd be able to do that and breathe, right? So I'm squeezing my knees, lift, back down, lift, down, 2, lift, down, 3, lift, down, 4, lift, down, 5, 1 more, lift, 6, lift, 7, lift. Every time, push as high as you can. Kind of hard to demonstrate on video, right? But every time I'm driving up, I'm trying to lift, push that foot in the air. 9, lift, 10, lift, 11, squeeze, lift, 12, lift, 13, lift, 14, last one, squeeze, full body tension, pressure in the abdomen, squeeze, 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 and back down. Very good. Okay, last 15 on the other side, and we're done for the day. Whew. Good. Spinal and internal rotation. It's amazing how working on your spine can help facilitate other motions in the body. So again, take a breath in. Feel the air on that right side. Squeeze those knees together, squeeze that block. Lift. Back down. 1. Lift. 2. Lift. 3. Lift. Down. 4. Lift. Down. 5. 10 more. Lift. Down. 6. We'll feel that outer hip. Lift. Just like we get more rails contraction, right? 7. Lift. Down. 8. Lift. 9, squeeze, lift, down, 10, last 5, lift, down, 11, lift, down, 12, squeeze, lift, down, 13, squeeze, lift, down, 14, feel that pressure, keep that tension, and lift, and down, 15. Very good. That was our 30-minute spine and hip internal rotation focused Kinstretch class. That was quite a bit different than some of the other classes that we've done, like we said at the beginning, but those are 2 kind of motions that one, hip internal rotation everybody needs, and then most people do not get much spinal motion throughout the day. So those are 2 good kind of motions to pair together. If you want to, just redo this once a week, that would be beneficial, or you could always do this class and then you could add more on top of it right after. So you can finish the video and then you can go back to your 90, do another round, follow it again with some liftoffs. Really whatever you feel like you need, whatever your body and your program call for. So again, thank you for joining me for this Kinstretch class. Hope to see you